Somewhere right now, someone is buying their first bass, and they are buying the wrong one. Not a slightly imperfect one, the wrong one. An instrument that will fight their hands, lie to their tuner, and whisper every single day that maybe bass just is not for them. And the cruel part is that the wrong basses are not hiding. They are the ones with the best photos, the loudest discounts, and the most confident listings. Because instruments that cannot convince your ears invest everything in convincing your eyes. Today, the 7 basses you should never buy, not 7 models, 7 types you will recognize instantly in every shop and every marketplace on earth. What each one actually does to the person who buys it. And then, because this channel never leaves you empty-handed, the 3 hidden gems. 3 specific basses with names and street prices that deliver more instrument per dollar than anything else on the used and clearance market right now. And in the middle, the 60-second shop test. 5 checks you can run on any bass, anywhere, no amp needed, that expose 90% of the traps in this video before your money leaves your pocket. Here is the plan. Traps 1 through 3 live in the shops and showrooms. The marketplace mystery bass, the attic bass with the mojo price tag, and the showroom hero with the pointy silhouette. Traps 4 and 5 are aimed at beginners specifically. The 5-string trap and the mega bundle. Traps 6 and 7 live on the used market, where this channel spends half its life. The photo flip bass and the orphan. Then the shop test, then the 3 gems, and then the 3 questions. Because they close every episode for a reason. Stay with me for trap number 4 especially, because it is the one that sounds like ambition and works like sabotage, and thousands of new players fall for it every month. And keep an ear open for gem number 3, because if you watched our last 3 videos, you already know why this exact moment, this month, is the best time in years to buy it. A quick, honest note before we start. Nobody paid for this video, no shop, no brand, and the links below are plain product links, no affiliate games, no markup. Every trap in this video is a category, not a brand name execution, because the same trap wears different logos in different countries. And you deserve the pattern, not a list that expires. And because buying right is a method, not a list. The complete buyer's guide, every gold mine and money trap from this channel as one honest map, is linked in the description. Now let's get into it. Trap number 1, the marketplace mystery bass. $50 to $80, full size, glossy sunburst, free shipping, a brand name you have never heard and will never hear again, and photos so good they belong on an album cover. Here is what the photos cannot show. Fret ends like tiny saw blades. Because fret dressing is hand labor, and hand labor is exactly what a $60 price deletes. A neck that moved during the sea voyage and will move again with every season, because the wood was dried on a schedule, not to a standard. Electronics soldered to the absolute minimum, a bridge made of metal soft enough to bend with a thumb, and tuners that hold pitch the way a sieve holds water. The cruelest part is who buys these. Absolute beginners. The one group with no reference point who will assume the buzzing, the pain, and the endless detuning are their own fault. They are not. The instrument is gaslighting them. If your entire budget is $80, the honest answer is a used brand name bass from the categories at the end of this video, which costs the same and works because somebody already paid the depreciation for you. The new mystery bass at that price is not an instrument, it is furniture shaped like one. Trap number 2, the attic bass with the mojo price tag. The listing says vintage 1970s, rare, played in a real band, patina. The photos show honest wear, and the price shows unearned confidence. $400, $600 more for an unknown brand bass that has spent 30 years leaning against a radiator. Let's be precise because this channel loves old instruments. A vintage Fender is an investment. A vintage instrument from a respected maker with a known model history can be a genuine gem. And our used bass episode told you exactly how to check one. But age alone adds value the way rust adds value, only in the story. The specific dangers of the anonymous attic bass, a warped or twisted neck that no truss rod can rescue, worn frets that cost more to replace than the bass is worth, tuners and bridges from companies that stopped existing before you were born, meaning every repair becomes a custom job, and electronics with 40 years of corrosion. The word for all of this in the listing is patina. The word at the repair shop is estimate. The honest question, would this bass be interesting at this price if it were new? If the answer is no, the age is the product, and you cannot plug age into an amp. Trap number 3, the showroom hero. Every shop has one. The extreme silhouette, the spikes, the arrow shape, the finish that looks like a lava lamp, hanging at exactly eye level because it stops every teenager who walks past. And to be completely fair, those shapes exist for real players in real genres, made by serious companies at serious prices, balanced and engineered. And if that is your music, buy the serious version with our blessing. The trap is the cheap version of the silhouette, the 60% off flame-shaped bass where the entire budget went into the shape. The physics problem is balance. A bass hangs on your shoulder as a lever, and when the body is all spikes and the horn is short, the headstock dives toward the floor, and your fretting hand spends the whole gig holding it up, which is exactly the job your fretting hand should never have. Add a body shape no standard case fits, edges that find every door frame, and a resale market of exactly the same teenagers who have meanwhile grown up. The test is simple and free, and it is in the shop checklist later. Put it on a strap, let go with both hands, and watch what the headstock does. If it heads for the floor in the shop, it will head for the floor every night you own it. Trap number 4, the ambitious one, the beginner 5-string. The logic sounds airtight, more strings, more notes, more future, and it is only $30 more than the 4-string. And on quality instruments, 5 strings are a legitimate, glorious tool. Our low B episode said so and meant it. Here is what the logic hides at the cheap end. That 5th string, the low B, is the single hardest string on any bass to build well. It needs a stiff neck, a precise bridge, a long enough scale, and quality string mass. And every one of those things is exactly what a $300 build cannot afford. The result is the floppy B, a string that sounds like a rubber band hitting a tent, wobbles against the tuner, and teaches wrong muting technique from day one. Meanwhile, the neck is wider, the string spacing is tighter, and every basic technique, muting above all, is meaningfully harder on the exact instrument a beginner will practice their foundations on. Learn on 4. Add the 5th when your hands know what they are doing, and your budget can afford a B string that behaves like a bass string. The 5-string future is real. The cheap 5-string present is where that future goes to die. Trap number 5, the mega bundle. One box, one price, bass, amp, cable, strap, tuner, picks, gig bag, instructional DVD from a decade nobody misses. The pitch is convenience, and the math is the trap. Add up what the components would honestly cost, and you will find the bass inside the bundle is a $100 instrument. The amp is a practice box with the voice of a wasp in a can. The cable dies in month 2. The strap is a seat belt, and the tuner is an app you already own. The bundle price is not a discount, it is camouflage. It makes one mediocre purchase look like 7 purchases. And the amp matters more than beginners know, because the amp is half the sound. A decent bass through a terrible amp sounds terrible, and the beginner once again blames themselves. The honest alternative costs the same: a used brand name bass, a used practice amp from a real amp maker, or one of the headphone solutions we covered in the headphone rig episode, and a $10 cable. 3 purchases, 10 minutes more effort, and every single component is better than everything in the box. Trap number 6, used market edition, the photo flip bass. You will recognize the listing style before you can say why. Perfect lighting, artful angles. Words like professionally set up, upgraded electronics, gigged only twice, and a price notably above the same model's other listings, justified by the story. Sometimes the story is even true, but the pattern this channel has documented across every gear category applies to basses with extra force, because basses are heavy, shipping is expensive, and returns are rare. The flip lives on the gap between photograph and instrument. Upgraded electronics can mean a soldering experiment. Professionally set up has no receipt attached. And the 2 gigs did not include the winter the bass spent in a garage. None of this needs cynicism. It needs the checklist. Our entire used bass checks episode exists for exactly this moment. And its rule stands. Buy the instrument, not the paragraph. Pay story prices only for verifiable stories, receipts, serial numbers, brand history, and treat every adjective in a listing as costing exactly $0, because that is its resale value. And trap number 7, the orphan. The discontinued oddball from a brand that left the market, the startup bass from the crowdfunding campaign, the house brand a retailer dropped 3 years ago. The price is usually tempting, the instrument sometimes genuinely interesting. And the trap is not the bass, it is the ecosystem around it. Strings in a non-standard scale nobody stocks, a proprietary bridge with saddles no parts drawer on earth contains, a truss rod that needs a wrench that's shipped only with the original box, a preamp, and longtime viewers may now smile grimly, that only its extinct manufacturer could repair. Instruments are long-term relationships with the supply chain, and when the chain is gone, every small problem escalates into a project. The exception that proves the rule. Orphans are fantastic for tinkerers who enjoy exactly these projects, at prices that assume the risk, meaning far below what the specs suggest. If you are not that person, the boring answer wins again. Buy instruments whose parts, strings, and knowledge exist everywhere, because standard is another word for repairable. One more tool before the shop test. The price class reality check. What each budget level should honestly buy you so a listing can never gaslight you about what is normal. At $100 to $200 used only, you should expect a fully functional instrument from a real brand's budget line. Honest hardware, a stable neck, maybe cosmetic scars, 0 unfixable problems. If a new bass at this price promises more, it is lying about something you cannot see. At $300, the sweet spot this channel lives in, you can demand a real preamp or excellent passive electronics, clean fretwork, and quality control that mostly holds. This is Sire and Yamaha and Ibanez territory, and no trap bass survives comparison with it. At $500, you are owed consistency. No lottery language, no forgiveness required, an instrument that is simply correct out of the box. And above that, you are no longer buying function at all. You are buying refinement, preference, and beauty, which are real things at honest prices and terrible things to pay for accidentally. Hold a suspicious listing against this ladder, and the trick collapses. The $80 mystery bass is promising $300 features. The $600 attic bass is charging $500 money for $100 function, and the bundle is hiding a $100 bass inside a $300 silhouette. Price classes are not snobbery. They are the map of what is physically possible, and every trap in this video works by pretending the map does not exist. Now the 60-second shop test, 5 checks, no amp required, that catch almost everything we just described. Check 1, the sightline. Hold the bass like a rifle and look down the neck from the headstock. You are looking for a gentle, even barely there bow, and no twist. Ats curves and corkscrews or funerals, whatever the price tag says. Check 2, the fret end stroke. Run your palm slowly along both edges of the neck. Sharp fret ends are either a dry air weak, fixable, or factory carelessness, telling, and the difference between those two is the rest of the build quality around them. Check 3, the hardware wiggle. Gently test every tuner, the bridge saddles, the strap buttons, every knob in the jack. Anything that rattles, rocks, or rotates freely on an instrument that is supposedly new or excellent condition is a message from the factory about everything you cannot see. Check 4, the strap dive. On a strap, both hands off and watch the headstock. Balance is unfixable at any price. No setup, no strings, no upgrade will ever move it. And check 5, the acoustic honesty. Play every string open, unplugged, ear close to the body. Buzzing, choking, dead spots, and notes that die instantly show up acoustically before any amp can flatter them. 60 seconds, 5 checks, and traps 1 through 4 have nowhere left to hide. The used market traps need the full checklist from our used base episode, but these 5 are the shield you carry everywhere. And now the 3 hidden gems with names and prices, because 7 warnings deserve 3 answers. Gem number 1, the used Squier Classic Vibe Series, 150 to 250 on the used market. This is the bass that ended the excuse era. Vintage correct looks, shockingly good necks, hardware that holds setup for months from the budget line of the biggest name in the business, meaning parts, knowledge, and resale forever. The used market is full of them because people buy them, love them, and upgrade anyway, which means you are buying a proven instrument at half price with all its childhood diseases already discovered. Gem number 2, the Yamaha TRBX304, 300 new, often 200 used. Longtime viewers know this name from 3 separate episodes, and the reason never changes. Yamaha's quality control is the most boring story in the industry, in the best possible sense. No lottery, no drama, an active EQ with genuinely useful voicings, a comfortable modern neck, and a build that survives beginners, gigs, and decades. It is the bass this channel hands to the question, I just want one that works. And gem number 3, and if you watched our Sire trilogy, you saw this coming. The 2nd generation Sire V3 right now in the clearance window. The new gen launch is pushing the outgoing generation off the shelves exactly as we described, which means the bass we called a gold mine at $300 is appearing at $230, $210, sometimes below $200, open box with full warranty with its full 3-band preamp in the famous mid-control the new entry model lost. A proven instrument, a documented lottery with known odds, and a falling price. That is not a purchase, that is a coupon from the market itself, and coupons expire when the old stock does. Before we wrap up, the 3 questions, first base edition, and today they go out especially to everyone buying for someone else. A son, a daughter, a partner, because half of all trap basses are gifts. Question 1. Can you hear the problem? A beginner cannot yet, which is why the shop test exists. It converts hearing into looking and touching, and anyone can look and touch. Question 2. Real fault or sold feeling? The mystery bass sells photos. The attic bass sells age. The showroom hero sells a silhouette. The bundle sells convenience. Every trap in this video is a feeling wearing an instrument costume. And question 3, have you done the cheap things first? For a first bass, the cheap thing is knowledge. 1 hour with this channel's beginner episodes costs nothing and outperforms $200 of regret. So here's the honest verdict. The wrong basses are not accidents. They are optimized precisely for the moment of purchase, for the photo, the price tag, the showroom wall, and they fall apart at the moment of playing, which is the only moment that ever mattered. The right basses are boring in exactly the opposite way. Proven models from boring companies with boring supply chains, bought used or on clearance, checked with 60 seconds of hands and eyes. Boring at the purchase, thrilling every day after. That trade in this channel will make it every single time is the entire secret of buying instruments, and the people selling the 7 traps are counting on you never learning it. You just did. Tell me in the comments, what was your first bass? The honest version, was it a gem, a trap, or a trap you loved anyway? And if you dodged one of these 7 at the last second, tell the story, because your near miss is the next beginner's education, and the comment section of this channel has saved more wallets than the videos have. Everything is linked in the description, including the buyer's guide with the complete map of gold mines and money traps. Subscribe for honest, no-hype truth about bass gear, and I would be genuinely glad to have you along for the ride.